My name is Marlene Whitaker, and I'm 82 years old. I live in a modest brick house on the edge of Bakersfield, where the desert winds rattle the windows at night, and silence fills the rooms that once held laughter. I thought this week would be different. I thought for once I'd be included. I had spent months saving from my Social Security checks, selling off some of my late husband's tools, even cashing in a small insurance policy. It wasn't easy, but I wanted to give my family something special, a trip to Hawaii. My suitcase sat by the door. My straw hat waited on the chair. For the first time in years, I felt like a part of something. Then my phone buzzed. The message glowed on the screen, each word colder than the last. You won't be joining us. Nathan prefers to keep it just his family. I hope you understand. No greeting, no apology, not even my name. The phone slipped from my hand onto the carpet. My chest tightened as if the air itself had betrayed me. I thought of the birthdays I never missed, the Christmas stockings I sewed by hand, the nights I stayed up sick with worry when she was a child. All of it dismissed with one sentence. Understand? How do you understand being erased by your own blood? My tears burned hot, but beneath them came something else, steady, sharp, unstoppable. Not sorrow, not confusion, but resolve. I pulled the binder of bank papers from the drawer and sat at the kitchen table. My fingers, spotted with age, moved with precision as I logged into the travel fund account. A single click. The funds froze. By morning, as my daughter and her husband wheeled their bags through the airport, boarding passes in hand, their smiles wide and careless, the trap was already set. When the card was swiped at the counter, the system spat back two words they never expected. Transaction declined. The morning after I froze the account, I sat at my kitchen table with a cup of weak coffee, staring at the steam rising like ghosts. The house was still, but memories crowded every corner. I wasn't always alone. Once, this place overflowed with the sound of music. My late husband, Harold, had a habit of whistling hymns while fixing things in the garage. He was a tall, broad-shouldered man who worked the ranch lands outside Bakersfield until his knees gave out. Harold wasn't rich, but he was steady. The kind of man who made you believe the world wouldn't collapse as long as he stood beside you. When he died 10 years ago, it felt like the walls of this house caved in. I kept his work boots by the door for almost a year, pretending he might walk back through. Sometimes, I still catch myself listening for his whistle when the wind howls through the trees. It was Harold who always said, "Family is the only thing that lasts, Marlene. Protect it, no matter the cost." I built my life around that. Every extra dollar went to Lily's future. Every dream of mine, college, travel, even new clothes, was shelved so she could have more. I still remember the first time I held her in the hospital. She had a head full of dark curls and a cry that pierced straight into my bones. I thought, this child will never know loneliness as long as I'm alive. But somewhere between her wedding and the years that followed, something shifted. Nathan, her husband, was charming at first. He called me Mom and even helped Harold in the garage once. But after Harold passed, Nathan's smile hardened. He made small comments at family dinners, subtle reminders that I was a guest in their home. If I offered advice, he brushed it aside. If I brought gifts for the kids, he complained they had too many toys already. And Lily, she stayed quiet. She always stayed quiet. The text message wasn't the first cut, it was just the deepest. I looked around my kitchen that morning at the faded linoleum and the ticking clock. My daughter had grown up in this house. She learned to ride her bike on this street. She cried in that very chair when a boy broke her heart at 16. And now, she was telling me I no longer belonged. The betrayal sat heavy in my chest. But beneath it, I felt something shift. I sipped my coffee, the bitterness sharp on my tongue, and whispered to the silence, "They think I'm weak. They have no idea." While I sat in my kitchen sipping coffee, 1,000 miles of emotion brewing inside me, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a text. It was a call. I didn't answer. Not yet. I already knew what it would be. Somewhere in Los Angeles International Airport, my daughter and her husband were standing red-faced at the gate counter. Their children tugged at their sleeves, confused why everyone else was boarding while their family stood frozen in place. Nathan's voice must have been booming. I could almost hear it through the walls of my empty house. I imagined him jabbing his finger at the poor attendant, insisting there had to be a mistake. That card had thousands on it. He was certain. He had checked.
Sir, this account has been frozen. You'll need to contact your bank.
The phone rang again. This time I let it go to voicemail.
A few minutes later, a text appeared, short, angry. Mom, what did you do?
I read it twice, then set the phone face down. For the first time in a long while, I smiled. Neighbors were mowing lawns, kids were riding bikes. Ordinary life rolled on as if nothing monumental had just happened. But inside me, something had shifted. The phone rang a third time. This time I picked up. On the other end was my daughter's frantic voice.
Mom, please. Nathan's furious. The kids are crying. We're supposed to leave today. Just tell me you didn't freeze the money.
I took a slow breath. My heart was racing, but my voice came out steady, almost calm. Sweetheart, I said softly, you told me I wasn't part of this family vacation. So why would my money be? The silence that followed was heavier than any word. I carried my coffee to the porch and looked out at the dusty street. By evening, the summer sun had settled low, painting the sky a bruised orange. I was folding laundry in the living room when I heard it. 3 hard knocks on the front door. I didn't need to look. I already knew. When I opened it, there stood my daughter. Her hair was frizzed from stress, her blouse wrinkled, her eyes swollen from crying. Behind her, the driveway was empty. Nathan hadn't come. That, in itself, spoke volumes. She moved past me into the living room, her eyes scanning the photos on the wall. Birthdays, Christmas mornings, family barbecues.
Mom, she whispered, her voice trembling. Can I come in?
She moved past me into the living room, her eyes scanning the photos on the wall. Birthdays, Christmas mornings, family barbecues.
Why would you do that? She demanded. Do you have any idea what you put us through today? The kids were sobbing. Nathan was humiliated. We had to leave the airport in front of everyone.
I set the folded towel down slowly. Do you have any idea what you put me through with that message?
She blinked, startled. It wasn't my choice. Nathan he thinks...
I raised a hand, stopping her. Don't hide behind him, Lily. You sent that text. Your name was on it, not his. My money paid for that trip. My heart dreamed of being part of it, and you told me I didn't belong. Her eyes welled. She bit her lip, the way she always did when truth cut too close. Then maybe, sweetheart, it's time you ask yourself why you're building a life where betraying your mother is the easy choice. The silence between us was heavy, broken only by the ticking of the wall clock. For the first time in years, I saw her, not as my little girl, not as Nathan's wife, but as a woman standing at a crossroads, terrified of what came next. And in her eyes, I also saw something else. A flicker of doubt, a flicker that scared her as much as it thrilled me. While I sat in my kitchen sipping coffee, 1,000 miles of emotion brewing inside me, my phone buzzed again.
Mom, please. Lily's voice cracked through the receiver. The kids are watching us fall apart in the middle of the airport. Nathan's yelling. People are staring. Just fix this, please.
I closed my eyes, and for a moment, I could almost hear her as a child again. Those nights she would come to my bed after a nightmare, whispering, "Mum, help me." My instinct was to rush in to make it better, but that instinct had cost me everything.
Mom, if you don't fix this, we're going to miss the flight. Lily's tone sharpened, desperate but edged with something colder. Do you want the kids to hate you for this?
I don't want them to hate me, darling, I whispered. But I'd rather they know me as the woman who finally stood up for herself than the woman who let herself disappear. Have you ever been pushed aside like you didn't matter? If you're watching this, share where you're from in the comments, because no matter where you are, this story might just speak to you. If you've ever given everything to someone who forgot you when it mattered, type "I understand" in the comments. Let's see how many of us carry these scars. While I sat in my kitchen sipping coffee, 1,000 miles of emotion brewing inside me, my phone buzzed again. If you've ever wanted to say the thing you were too afraid to say out loud, write brave in the comments. Because sometimes courage doesn't come from youth, it comes from years of being ignored.
Mom, please. Lily's voice cracked through the receiver. The kids are watching us fall apart in the middle of the airport. Nathan's yelling. People are staring. Just fix this, please.
You don't speak for me, Nathan, and you don't get to use me anymore. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't the one begging to belong. If you've ever stood your ground against someone who tried to belittle you, type strong in the comments. Because strength doesn't always roar. It sometimes whispers and still shakes the earth. If you've ever watched someone you love get swallowed by a toxic relationship, type I see it in the comments. Sometimes the truth is clearer to everyone but the one living it. The house had grown quiet after Lily's trembling words. She sat on the sofa, hands knotted in her lap, eyes darting between the carpet and the photos on the wall. For the first time, I thought she might actually stay the night, just the two of us, like we used to when Harold was alive.
Mom, please don't. Just let me handle him.
There you are. I told you not to come here, and you think you're clever, don't you? Making a fool out of me at the airport, making me look weak in front of my own kids.
I didn't move. I didn't shrink. For the first time, I looked him straight in the eye. They saw the truth today, Nathan. And it wasn't me who looked weak.
You poisoned this family for years. Lily bends over backward for you. I'm the one who has to clean up the mess you leave behind. You're old, Marlene. Old and bitter. You should be thanking me for even letting you near them.
Nathan, stop.
I felt the heat in my chest, but instead of fear, it burned like steel. I stood slowly, my hands steady on the armrest of my chair. You've taken enough from me, but you won't take my dignity.
You think freezing a bank account makes you powerful? You're nothing. Nothing but a lonely old woman playing games she doesn't understand.
But I saw it in his eyes, that flicker of doubt, the crack in his armor. He wasn't laughing because he was in control. He was laughing because for the first time, he wasn't. The house was quiet the next morning, but not peaceful. Every creak of the floorboards felt like a warning. Every car passing outside made my heart leap into my throat. Lily hadn't slept. Her eyes were red, her hands jittery as she stirred sugar into her coffee. Lily hadn't slept. Her eyes were red, her hands jittery as she stirred sugar into her coffee.
He'll come back. You know he will.
Let him come. He can't touch you here. Not anymore. But deep down, I wasn't so sure. Men like Nathan didn't let go. They tightened their grip when they felt it slipping. And I was right. By noon, Lily's phone began buzzing. First, angry texts. Then voicemails, each one louder, crueler. Ungrateful. Traitor. You'll regret siding with her. Lily deleted them, tears glistening in her eyes. But the words clung to her like poison. Then came the email. Cold, businesslike, ruthless. Your credit cards are frozen. Your accounts are locked. You chose her. Now live with her.
Mom, I can't even buy gas. He's cut me off completely.
I felt rage burn hotter than my age should allow. For years I had believed I was too frail, too forgotten to fight back. But watching my daughter, my child, stripped of everything by the man who vowed to love her, something ancient and fierce awoke inside me. Then we'll fight back, I said, my voice shaking but strong. I pushed back my chair and shuffled toward the old oak cabinet in the corner. I opened the drawer and pulled out a thick envelope, yellowed with age. Inside were documents, statements, and a small stack of savings bonds I'd hidden away since before Lily was married. Not everything, I said, placing the envelope in her trembling hands. He doesn't control me.
Mom, this is thousands of dollars.
I was saving it for emergencies. And Lily, this is the emergency.
I don't deserve this. After the way I treated you.
You're my daughter. You will always deserve a chance to be free. The phone buzzed again on the table. Nathan's name. His shadow pressed against us like a storm. But for the first time, Lily didn't flinch. She silenced the call. She chose me. And together, we began to plan. If you've ever had to rebuild your life from scratch, type "rise again" in the comments. Because sometimes losing everything is how you finally find your freedom. 2 days passed in uneasy silence. The house smelled of coffee and lavender detergent, but beneath it all hung the scent of fear. Every time Lily's phone buzzed, she froze. Every creak on the porch made her hold her breath. I thought maybe Nathan had finally tired of his tantrums. Maybe, just maybe, he'd leave us alone. But men like Nathan don't just leave, they reload. The letter arrived on the third morning, Thick white envelope, stiff paper, Lily's name printed in cold black ink. She opened it at the kitchen table. I watched the colour drain from her face, watched her hands tremble as her eyes darted across the words. Then she dropped it. The paper floated down like a dead leaf. My heart stopped. The air in the room grew heavy, crushing. "He can't do that," I said, my voice rising. "He abandoned you. He humiliated you.
He can do it," Lily said, tears streaming now. "He has money, he has lawyers, and me? I've got nothing. No job, no income. He'll make me look unstable, like I can't provide for my own son."
I gripped her hands. My old bones ached, but my spirit flared with fire. "You are not nothing. You have me, and you have the truth."
Lily shook her head violently. "Truth doesn't win in court. Money wins in court."
Silence fell between us. Then I rose from my chair, my joints stiff but my voice clear. "Then we'll fight with more than truth. We'll fight with proof." She looked up at me, startled. "Proof?" I nodded slowly. "Nathan has left a trail. The texts, the voicemails, the frozen accounts. That's abuse, Lily. And if he thinks he can rip your son away while treating you like that, he's about to learn he picked the wrong family to break."
Lily's lips trembled. "Mom, you think we can actually beat him?"
I squeezed her hands tighter, forcing strength into her. "We won't just beat him. We'll show the world who he really is." The letter still lay on the table, its black words sneering up at us. But now, it wasn't a death sentence. It was a battle cry. And this old woman was ready for war. If you've ever had someone underestimate your strength, drop A in the comments. Let's show the Nathans of the world that they don't get the last word. The courthouse loomed over us like a fortress. Grey stone, iron steps, and doors too heavy for comfort. Lily clutched her folder of documents, her knuckles white, her lips whispering prayers under her breath. I walked beside her, cane tapping the floor with each step. My back ached, but my spirit was iron. Nathan thought he could drag us here and strip my daughter of her child. He thought fear would paralyze us. We entered the courtroom. Nathan was already there, his suit crisp, his smirk sharper than any blade. Beside him sat his high-priced attorney, a woman with ice in her eyes. Lily froze. I felt her body tighten, and then, like a miracle, the doors opened again.
"Rachel," she whispered.
It was Rachel Collins, Lily's childhood friend. They'd lost touch after college, but Rachel had become a family lawyer in Sacramento. And here she was, walking straight to us.
She smiled warmly at Lily, then turned to Nathan's side with a glare sharp enough to cut glass. "Funny," she said. "I thought bullies stayed in high school. Guess some just buy better suits."
Nathan stiffened. For the first time in years, I saw him unsettled.
Rachel leaned close to Lily. "Don't worry, I'm here, and we're not losing Aaron."
The hearing began. Papers shuffled, the judge entered, and Nathan's lawyer wasted no time. She painted Lily as unstable, unemployed, and dependent. Every word dripped with poison. But then Rachel stood. Her presence filled the room like sunlight cracking through storm clouds.
"Your Honor," she said firmly, "we have evidence of financial abuse, manipulation, and abandonment. We have texts, bank statements, and recorded voicemails. What Mr. Carter calls providing for his family is actually coercion, control by money, wielded like a weapon, and that is not parenting, that is abuse."
Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Nathan's smirk faltered. His fingers tightened against the table.
And then, Rachel dropped the bombshell. "We also have a witness ready to testify. Someone who has lived with this family. Someone who saw firsthand the way Nathan treated his wife and child."
My heart pounded. I knew who she meant.
The judge nodded. "Bring in the witness."
The heavy courtroom doors swung open, and for a breathless second, the world seemed to pause. Even the judge leaned forward, curious. A figure stepped inside, broad shoulders, uniform pressed, silver badge glinting under the fluorescent lights. It was Detective Raymond Harlow, a local officer who had visited Lily's home countless times after neighbors reported shouting, slamming doors, and a child crying late into the night. Nathan's face drained of color.
"Your Honor," he said, raising his right hand, "I've been called to that house on 4 separate occasions. Each time I documented what I saw. Bruises hidden under long sleeves, a frightened wife who wouldn't speak above a whisper, and a little boy clinging to his mother's leg, begging not to be left alone with his father."
Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Lily's eyes filled with tears, this time not of shame but of vindication.
Objection, Your Honor. This is circumstantial.
Overruled. Continue, Detective.
Abuse doesn't always leave marks where the world can see, but I've seen the fear, I've heard the boys' cries, and I'll tell you this, no child should be raised in a house where love feels like a threat.
The silence that followed was deafening. Even the air felt heavier. Nathan shifted in his seat, sweat pooling at his collar. For the first time, his mask slipped. Beneath the tailored suit and cocky grin was something raw, fear. I glanced at Lily. Her chin was lifted, her hands steady. For years, Nathan made her feel small. But today, with the truth pouring out for all to hear, she looked taller than him in every way.
This testimony changes everything, he said gravely. We will adjourn until tomorrow. But make no mistake, the court has heard enough to question custody and credibility.
The gavel struck, echoing like thunder. Nathan's smirk was gone. His eyes burned with panic. And for the first time in decades, I knew he was losing. If you've ever waited for justice to finally catch up with someone, type justice in the comments, because tomorrow's verdict will be one for the ages. The hearing adjourned. We left the room with our papers still clutched, not victorious yet, but no longer defeated. We spent the night planning, organizing evidence, preparing to counter every lie with a documented truth. Friends reached out, short, faceless messages of support that felt like small lights in a dark room. We sat on the porch that evening, the world outside unaware of the war we'd begun to wage inside a small house of wood and stubborn hearts. The texts, the voicemails, the frozen accounts. Small things that together told a larger truth. Tomorrow we would return. Tomorrow the court would decide. But for now, we held the line. If you've ever waited for justice to finally catch up with someone, type justice in the comments. Because tomorrow's verdict will be one for the ages. The next morning, the courtroom buzzed with a nervous energy, like everyone knew history was about to be made. I sat straighter than usual, cane resting against my leg, heart pounding steady. Lily was beside me, her hand firm in mine. For the first time in years, she looked free. Nathan entered last, his swagger gone. His suit looked the same, but his face didn't. His eyes darted, his jaw clenched, his confidence shattered. The judge took his seat, shuffled a stack of papers and cleared his throat. After reviewing testimony, evidence and witness accounts, this court finds Mr. Nathan Carter unfit for sole custody. Custody will be granted to Mrs. Lily Carter. Financial control will be restored to her, and Mr. Carter will be required to attend counselling before visitation rights can even be considered. The gavel came down like a hammer of justice. The room erupted, gasps, whispers, even a soft cheer from the back. Lily's tears streamed freely, her body trembling. Aaron, sitting quietly with a guardian, leapt from his chair and ran straight into her arms. For a moment, it was just the three of them, mother, son, and freedom. But the twist hadn't landed yet. Because just as Nathan slumped in his chair, the detective stepped forward with one final document. "Your Honor," he said, "in addition to custody, the department has opened an investigation into Mr. Carter's financial dealings. We have evidence of tax evasion and fraudulent transfers." Nathan's head snapped up. His mouth opened, but no words came. The judge's gaze sharpened. "Then this case is far from over. Bailiffs..." Two officers stepped forward. Nathan's smirkless face twisted with rage as the cuffs clicked around his wrists. He was led out not as a father, not as a husband, but as a criminal. The silence afterward was thunderous. And then Lily turned to me, her voice breaking. "Mom! We did it!" I reached for her hand, gripping it with all the strength my 79-year-old body could muster. "No," I whispered. "You did it. You finally remembered who you are." The sun was shining when we walked out of that courthouse. Aaron skipped ahead, laughing for the first time in months. Lily held her head high, a survivor, not a victim. And me? I breathed deep, knowing this. Age doesn't steal power. It sharpens it. It gives you the wisdom to know when to fight, and the courage to do it, even when the world calls you too old. As I watched Nathan's car pull away, empty this time, I felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. If this ending gave you chills, drop peace in the comments. And if you believe no mother, no grandmother should ever be silenced, share this story. Someone out there needs to hear it.